Welcome to the Miller Chiropractic Minute. We are going to discuss today, kind of ties into weight loss, but we're going to discuss a food additive or sweetener they call aspartame. Many people use this as a weight loss drug. Or they use diet sodas to help control their weight. Let's talk about a couple fallacies here. One is aspartame does not help you lose weight. There isn't a single study that shows that drinking diet sodas helps you lose weight. As a matter of fact, the inverse is true. The exact opposite is true. They're showing now that because aspartame is an artificial ingredient in the body, what it does when you drink aspartame, the body can't process it. So in the body, it's stored in the fat cells, and because the body's internal temperature is 98.6 degrees, it actually turns to formaldehyde in the body, and that causes a toxic reaction. And in the body, there is only one way to get rid of toxicity. The solution to pollution in the body is dilution. So what happens to you is you actually start to retain water. You start to swell. And it's a never-ending cycle. The other thing that happens when you eat aspartame, you start to actually crave carbohydrates. You start to actually crave sugars because you're not getting any energy from the aspartame. There's no caloric value to your body. There's nothing there for the body to work with other than these fake chemicals that cause issues with the liver, the kidneys, and actually with the aspartame, the brain. The brain views it as an amino acid, and so the aspartame molecule can cross the blood-brain barrier and goes directly into the brain. That causes the synapse, the neurosynaptic junction inside the brain, to hyperexcite, and it explodes. So it physically causes brain damage in people. Aspartame is classified as an excitotoxin. It's just nasty, nasty stuff. So let me cover a couple things here that I talked about when I talked about it turns to formaldehyde. If you leave aspartame, which is aspartic acid, it is phenylalanine, and it is methanol. When you let that raise to room temperature, or 86 degrees Fahrenheit, the methanol in aspartame converts to formaldehyde, and formaldehyde is grouped in the same class of chemicals as cyanide and arsenic, which are both deadly poisons. This is where the toxicity issue comes into play, and it is very, very, very hard on the liver. So you see why the body wants you to retain water. It wants you to keep water, to keep the levels of this down so it doesn't affect you. In 1994, in February of 1994, the Department of Health and Human Services reported that 90 different documented symptoms are found, and here are just a few. We'll talk about headaches, migraines, vision problems, ear problems, heart irregularities, physiological concerns or psychological concerns like depression, irritability, anxiety attacks, and memory loss, as well as nausea, numbness, muscle spasms, weight gain, rashes, fatigue, insomnia, breathing difficulties, slurred speech, loss of taste, vertigo, and joint pain. Aspartame is a chemical poison, and when consuming this, it is also been linked to chronic illnesses, including brain tumors, multiple sclerosis, epilepsy, chronic fatigue syndrome, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, mental retardation, lymphoma, birth defects, fibromyalgia, and diabetes. If that's not enough to make you look at the label and read what's in there, I don't know what is. So you really have to look at this stuff and think about it. Food is a drug, and if you're trying to lose weight, substituting chemicals for real food is not an answer. Sugar-free, when you look at the way people want to lose weight, they think of going sugar-free. Well, there are several different ways you can do this without turning to something like aspartame. You can use agave syrup. You can use sugar in the raw. These types of things have a lower glycemic index and don't cause the insulin reaction that, let's say, high fructose corn syrup does, or white refined cane sugar. Those things are very high on the glycemic index and cause a very large reaction with insulin. So when you're looking at this, there are multiple ways if you're doing this to lose weight, to lose them in a healthy way. One of the things I love to tell my patients is nothing in the body that is good happens overnight. Everything takes time. If it's worth having, it's worth working for, and eventually your body will respond and it will happen. But to go to artificial sweeteners and these types of things, calories, there is a difference in the type of calorie that you consume, and you do not want to have aspartame as a 0 calorie chemical. You drink that Coke Zero and those types of things. It is absolutely garbage. And as I've talked to you about the dangers of aspartame in the beginning of this, you do not want to get rid of good things like yogurt, cultured cheeses, and things like that because you're worried about the calories. Those types of calories are calories that your body can actually use. And so when it uses those calories, what happens to you is you fuel the system. I'll go into this a little more when we talk about weight loss. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at indianabackdoc@gmail.com. I am Twitter user indianabackdoc. You can send me a message in any way, shape, or form, and I would be happy to answer it. With all that being said, please be smart, be healthy, read the labels, get away from artificial sweeteners. They are bad for you in every way. Thank you and have a good evening.